It's getting on a bit now, isn't it? Thursday, the 12th of March, 2009. Finsbury Park, North London. 11:30 p.m. Keon Hendry was crouched behind a bush near Finsbury Park Underground Station, both hands shaking a little. His heart was racing in his chest, and he was so nervous he felt like he might lose control at any second. He was also acutely aware that he felt completely and totally alive. "So, you know what you have to do, right?" whispered Steve Jeffrey, wiping a layer of sweat from his pale forehead with the sleeve of his fake navy Barber jacket. His eyes were glazed from an afternoon of weed puffing at the recreation ground nearby. It had been a wet spring day, and the clouds of sweet-smelling smoke had floated away like unwanted balloons, absorbed by the rain. Keon screwed his nose up slightly and took a good sniff of the damp air around him, not knowing what to say. His black tracksuit bottoms were far too big for him, and he yanked them up at the back. He was unsure of how it had ever got to this stage. Recently, things had got a little out of hand among his schoolmates. Some of them had always carried knives, just small ones, the kind you might take camping and only ever end up using to cut the string between the sausages. He himself was quite at home with the switchblade he normally had in his pocket. He forgot it was there, usually. But then the knives had got bigger. Mothers all over North London must have been wondering where their kitchen utensils were disappearing to. Even so, no one intended to actually use them. Or at least, that was what Keon thought. But he was starting to wonder if maybe he was a little naive. It was just that the more boys were carrying knives on the streets, the more you needed one. And if they got one that was bigger, then you had to upsize too. It was just the way modern-day life was. It wasn't his fault. At least, that's what he'd told himself, to try and make it okay in his head. Keon shifted uncomfortably on the cold concrete, bringing his left knee down beside his other so that he was kneeling now. He considered for a moment how uncomfortable this all was, and how he wished he was at home instead, watching a film and eating chips with his sister, Reb. He considered for a few moments how disgusted she would be if she knew he was crouching in a bush near Finsbury Park Tube, preparing to scare the living daylights out of someone. "Keon, are you there? Earth to Keon!" Steve almost barked now, frustration in his voice. His forehead crunched up in anger, soft white skin over his sharp bone structure. Yes, all right. When he comes out of the station, we'll give him a fright. I get it." Keon responded in a low voice, almost growling, wondering if it would be too late to walk away from all of this. "And don't take it too far, okay? We don't want to get in trouble for this. Just do whatever you have to do to stop the little shit giving us grief, all right?" continued Steve, putting a cigarette between his thin lips and lighting it with a Zippo. His eyes were like satellite dishes, huge and watery. Thread-like blood vessels had risen to the surface of his eyeballs, making the whites of his eyes a soft pink. "Of course I'm not actually going to hurt him. Who do you think I am?" said Keon, unconsciously running his index finger over the cold, smooth metal that was pushed against the soft skin of his stomach by the band of his boxer shorts. He felt his heart rate pick up again. He might not be planning to hurt Ricky Watson, but he knew that this was definitely wrong. This was the kind of very bad behaviour that would make his mother go to church more often and cry a lot. He couldn't believe how much he got away with behind her back. It brought shivers of guilt over him every time he thought about it. How often he would roll home with the munchies stoned out of his brains, and how his mother would nod and smile with pride, commenting on how he was a growing lad, while he ate so much pasta he nearly burst. Keon, however, had always managed to sidestep serious trouble, somehow, while still hanging out with the bad boys. He was always on the periphery, laughing at the right jokes, wearing the right clothes, but somehow never getting his hands dirty.